Hello, are you ready to hear a story? This is a story about what you can find and what you can do in a children's museum. As we read the story today, you could be thinking about what you would like best in a children's museum. Hugo visits children's museums with his Jamma and Gigi.
Hugo was 2 years old when he first visited a children's museum. At the museum, Hugo and Jamma take a pretend ride on a bus. Hugo has his seatbelt on to be safe.
Hugo driving. Hugo has visited children's museums since he was 2 years old. He is 4 years old now, and he has visited 5 different children's museums. Hugo visits children's museums with his grandmother and his grandfather. Hugo calls his grandparents Gigi for Grandpa Glenn.
That's me.
And Jamma for Grandma Jane.
Hugo loves to build things. In another children's museum, Hugo is 3 years old, and he found a place where he can build with colorful shapes that fit together.
Building a castle wall. Hugo was really excited when he found a big hole in a castle wall that needed to be finished. Hugo and Gigi worked together to finish building the big brick wall. Hugo found the bricks and brought them to Gigi, and Gigi is so tall that he could fit them in the spaces.
Picking corn in the cornfield. After Hugo and Gigi finished the wall, Hugo saw a field of pretend corn. He picked the corn from the stalks and he filled up a basket full of corn.
Hugo looked outside at another museum and saw a place where he could build with really big blue blocks. He built a block car and pretended to drive.
Hugo loves to tell Gigi how things make him feel. Sometimes he feels excited. Sometimes he feels scared. He finds some words he can move around to say how he is feeling today. Hugo says he is feeling happy.
The wheel of feelings. Then he finds a big wheel of feeling faces, and he spins it to see what feeling it lands on. It lands on the picture of nervous. I know sometimes Hugo feels nervous. I wonder if you ever feel nervous.
Hugo loves to play with water. One of his favorite places in museums is the water play area. Here he puts balls in the water and watches them float downstream. And you'll get to listen a little bit and watch as Hugo puts balls in the water.
Jamma found a wall where you can paint on the wall with water. She wrote a message to Hugo. It says, Hugo is a superhero. That's because Hugo loves superheroes.
Hugo meets a museum dinosaur and gets scared. Hugo meets a dinosaur who begins to roar. Hugo steps back to where Gigi is standing and he looks up. Being close to Gigi makes him feel braver. He goes back to look at the dinosaur again. He goes back to Gigi again, and then he goes back to look a third time. Now he's feeling brave, and he can hear the dinosaur roar and not be too scared. He even puts on some pretend dinosaur feet and walks around like he is the dinosaur.
Now we can listen to the dinosaur roar. You ready for this?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, I see it.
Playing house. After being scared of the dinosaur, Hugo wants to go somewhere quieter. They find a pretend cabin in the woods where Hugo can take care of some babies.
Hugo finds a friend. Hugo finds a friend in the cabin in the woods and sits to enjoy a cup of pretend tea at the kitchen table.
Hugo rows the boat out into the water and then climbs into the cave to explore the inside of the cave. He hides from Gemma and then peeks out so she can see him.
Hugo visits the room from Goodnight Moon. There is a special room in this museum that looks just like the book Goodnight Moon. The story starts, in the great green room there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. Hugo goes into the room and finds all the parts of the story. He can pretend that he is inside the book. He even found the little mouse.
Hugo finds a drum. Hugo loves music and musical instruments. So when he saw these drums, he had to pick up the drumstick and try them out.
Hugo is walking out of the museum door, towards the museum door, ready to go home with Gemma and Gigi, when they all look down and find a hole in the floor where they can see pretend bugs crawling all over the basement, big bugs. Hugo says he is going to tell his mom and dad that he saw big bugs and they would be scared.
They would. Hugo waves goodbye as they leave the museum. He can't wait to visit his next museum with Gemma and Gigi.
Children's Museum in St. Cloud. Now Hugo's grandparents, Gemma and Gigi, want to help build a children's museum in St. Cloud. What do you want them to put in your children's museum for you to play with when you visit? We invite you to help us build the Great River Children's Museum by, number one, on our website, you can find pictures of different exhibits and activities to download. Paste the exhibits or activities that you would like to see in the museum on a piece of paper. Take a picture and send it to us. Or you can share a story about your own real or made-up experiences visiting a children's museum and what you liked best. Or you can draw us a picture of your idea of an exhibit or activity you would like to have at the Children's Museum. Send us your pictures and stories, and we will post them on our website. We would love to hear from you.
Goodbye.
Bye for now.